So we asked, will the Smith machine popularity improve in home gyms? And 60% actually said yes. They will improve within the home gyms. And then we also asked a follow up question that asked which Smith machine option sounds best for your home gym. And we used a few example, not including just a standalone Smith machine. So you had to answer between fully attached, like a BOS, like the Bells of Steel prototype, the VTS from like Bulletproof Fitness, which is just two trolleys that you add on to your rack. So another rack attached option, and you put your own barbell in between. And then also like an all in one from Force USA. You could also answer, I'm not educated enough to answer, which is actually what the most popular answer was. So 35% people said they weren't educated enough to answer. The second most popular was the rack attached option from Bells of Steel. The third most popular was the Bulletproof Fitness VTS. And then lastly was the all-in-one from Force USA.
Yeah, I love the Force USA all-in-ones. Like I've said before, and like I think you would agree with, they for what I do in my home gym, they would be an awesome like accessory rack, something to have on the side as like a functional trainer and Smith machine, just like a dedicated portion of that. I would actually love to have that. Um, but in like my current setup and like where my financials are at, like I really like that bulletproof. Or I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. The Bells of Steel one. And maybe it might change like when I finally do see like the bulletproof one like in person. But the Bells of Steel prototype looked awesome. Like that you could just put like it looked like a legit Smith machine right onto your rack. I think it's going to do really well. Using a Smith machine, you and I have talked like it's it's great. It feels because it's like it's locked in. It's got that like dedicated pattern. You can just push against it. It feels like you have access to like machines in your gym, you know, as like accessories to like your big three lifts. I think Bills of Steel has a great product. Really excited to see the bulletproof one in person. But that's where I stand right now.
Yeah. So number one, I would say I agree with the 60%. I think the Smith machines are going to become more popular within the home gyms, specifically because there are more options coming out that are cool. And then also just number two, I've had one in my home gym for like 4 months or so, and I find myself using. So I have a separate all-in-one and then a rack where I just do barbell work. I find myself using that separate all-in-one as much as I use the regular power rack with the barbell. Um, so, and I mean, I really enjoy it, and I do think it's something that I really appreciate. Didn't necessarily think I'd get that value until I actually had it, but I mean, I use the Smith machine for accessory work. I I use it like if I'm gonna like come out in the garage and do a random few sets, it's much easier to just do a few things on the Smith machine than like get a barbell. Um, so I mean, I find myself just working out more throughout the day because I have it, and then they're just just there's. I'm not the best to explain the benefits of the Smith machine, but um, definitely quite a bit of variability when it comes to that. And then I also think about these as, again, they all seem like really good options. You kind of have the fully rack attached for somebody who they're not going to go out and get another set. They're not going to go out and get an all-in-one. They're going to use their rack, and the Smith machine has enough priority to where they'll add that, and then also it doesn't add that much more space. So I can see a lot of people adding this like Bells of Steel prototype. The VTS, I think that might be a little bit more versatile, but another option that will take up even less space. And then, the all-in-ones are for people with maybe a little bit more budget. and then a little more space, either as like to have like as a secondary rack. So, and that's the one I got. So, and I think it's worth the extra. I think that's worth it. So yeah, I definitely, in general, I think pretty cool data here. And then also just like, I agree with it. So it'll be cool to see if, people see this data and more attention is drawn towards it. And we see some cool Smith machine attachments.